สวัสดีครับวันนี้ก็ต้องขอบคุณที่ให้ความสนใจในบริษัทของเราทั้งที่หลายวันที่ผ่านมาอาจจะผ่านศึกหนักตั้งแต่พระพิธีราชาภิเษกอะไรกันมาพอสมควรนะครับแต่ดูหน้าตาท่านยังสดใสอยู่แสดงว่าไม่ได้ไปตากแดดนะคงจะดูโทรทัศน์อยู่ที่บ้านนะครับแล้วก็วันนี้ก็ยังมีอีกหลายข่าวทางด้านการเมืองที่ตามมานะครับก็คงสนุกดีนะครับวันนี้ก็ผมด้วยนามบริษัทเดลต้าก็รู้สึกเป็นเกียรติและขอบคุณที่ท่านยังไว้วางใจเรามาโดยตลอดผมก็คงมีหลายๆเรื่องคงมีทีมงานซึ่งจะมาพูดถึงในความสำเร็จในช่วงควอเตอร์แรกเท่าที่ผ่านมานะครับเราอาจจะไม่ได้หวือหวาแต่ก็ยังไปอย่างแน่นอนและอย่างมั่นคงนะครับในโอกาสนี้ก็ต้องขอบพระคุณนะครับแล้วก็ถือโอกาสนี้เปิดการประชุมในครั้งนี้นะครับต่อไปผมก็คงขอเชิญคุณดิ๊กนะครับกล่าวถึงเปิดพึ่งผลประกอบการของเราในควอเตอร์แรกที่ผ่านมาขอบคุณครับสวัสดีครับ
Good morning. Hope our MP and the senator can be smoothly comes out the member, so we can doing the work and the country can be smoothly grows. Well, let me talk about the first quarter business outlook first. On the market side, our DS automotive business very good. Talking about the quarter-to-quarter growth in the Q1 of 2019. Also for the new business, from the major European OEM on the onboard charger and DC-DC converters models, could be expect our contribution increase of the revenue. There was many new projects we are awarded right now. We're doing the R&D work together with all the well-named car manufacturers in the world. Overall demand in Europe, medical industrial, it's also expected pick up and contribute to increased sales for our DS in this year. Our industrial automation business in Southeast Asia has a healthy growth in the Q1 of 19. Revenue compared with the same period of last year. Indian revenue actually dropped down a little bit because Indian election. We hope everything can be smooth after election from May onward or June onward. Based on the operations, Thailand production revenues achieved the first quarter budget, and major contribute it's come from data center and medical power. Delta retained a good score of being of the carbon disclosure project CDP in 2018, published in the January 2019. Delta is the only Thai company and the ranking among the top 5 companies in the electric components, instrument, and components in Rubicon SAM, Sustainability Yearbook of 2019. And this is recognition of the CDP list in 2018. So this is Delta is one of the 3,000 companies worldwide to participate this CDP disclosure system for 2018 list, and we retained it. Next. This is Robeco SAM Sustainability's yearbook of the 2019 electronics equipment and instrument and components. So in February 18, 2019, we still maintain this award. Okay, DJSI actually.
ค่ะต่อไปจะเป็นการรายงานผลประกอบการไตรมาสแรกของปี 2019 นะคะยอดขายไตรมาสแรกมีจำนวน 12.95 พันล้านบาทเปรียบเทียบกับยอดขายในไตรมาสเดียวกันของปีที่แล้วเพิ่มขึ้นร้อยละ 3.5 ยอดขายที่เพิ่มขึ้นมาจากกลุ่มผลิตภัณฑ์ Power Supply ซึ่งเพิ่มขึ้นร้อยละ 26 โดยเฉพาะกลุ่มผลิตภัณฑ์ Power Supply สำหรับเครื่องมือช่างส่วนยอดขายในกลุ่มผลิตภัณฑ์โทรคมนาคมลดลงร้อยละ 17%กำไรขั้นต้นไตรมาสแรกมีจำนวน 2.9 พันล้านบาทคิดเป็นอัตรากำไรขั้นต้นร้อยละ 23 เพิ่มขึ้นร้อยละ 9 เมื่อเปรียบเทียบกับไตรมาสเดียวกันของปีที่แล้วกำไรที่เพิ่มขึ้นมาจากกลุ่มผลิตภัณฑ์ Power Supply เพิ่มขึ้นร้อยละ 34.5 กำไรจากการดำเนินงานไตรมาสแรกมียอดอยู่ที่ 0.9 พันล้านบาทคิดเป็นอัตรากำไรจากการดำเนินงานร้อยละ 7.6 ลดลงร้อยละ 4.0 มาจากกลุ่มผลิตภัณฑ์โทรคมนาคมลดลง 19.7 ส่วนกำไรสุทธิไตรมาสได้มีจำนวน 1.08 พันล้านบาทคิดเป็นอัตรากำไรสุทธิร้อยละ 8.4 ลดลง 2.75 ภาพรวมของงบแสดงฐานะทางการเงินของบริษัทสินทรัพย์เงินสดและรายการเท่าเงินสดและเงินลงทุนระยะสั้นลดลง32ล้านบาทลูกหนี้การค้าสุทธิลดลง709ล้านบาทที่ดินอาคารอุปกรณ์เพิ่มขึ้น868ล้านบาทเนื่องจากมีการสร้างศูนย์วิจัยและพัฒนาในประเทศอินเดียหนี้สินบริษัทและบริษัทย่อยมีหนี้สินเพิ่มขึ้น146ล้านบาทโดยรายการหลักจะเป็นเจ้าหนี้การค้าจากการซื้อวัตถุดิบส่วนของผู้ถือหุ้นเพิ่มขึ้น 1,170 ล้านบาทสรุปภาพรวมสำคัญทางการเงินและอัตราส่วนทางการเงินเปรียบเทียบข้อมูลย้อนหลังยอดขายในไตรมาสแรกของปี 2019 มีจำนวน 12.95 พันล้านบาทอัตรากำไรขั้นต้นร้อยละ 23 อัตรากำไรจากการดำเนินงานร้อยละ 7.6 อัตรากำไรสุทธิร้อยละ 8.4 กำไรสุทธิต่อหุ้นอยู่ที่ 0.87 บาทต่อหุ้นอัตราผลตอบแทนต่อส่วนของผู้ถือหุ้นอยู่ที่ร้อยละ 12.3 อัตราส่วนหนี้สินต่อส่วนของผู้ถือหุ้นอยู่ที่ 0.41 เท่าและอัตราส่วนสภาพคล่องหมุนเร็วอยู่ที่ 2.13 เท่าค่ะ
Thank you, Kun Dick, and also Kun Arawan for the informations. Now, I just would like to clarify one thing. First of all, in US dollars term, the sales revenue has been doing actually quite well when you compare to the first quarter of last year and also the fourth quarter of last year as well. And we believe that this year, the first half would be less than the second half. So if that is the case, then it means that we actually bank upon the US market, especially after the election in Thailand, that all the government has been appointed. And also we hope that the trade war will have somehow some certain kind of leeway to settle down. So for this reason, we believe that in this year, the total sales growth will be around 5 to 10% as we usually do in the past. And the factors that will have the sales revenue to grow, which means that we have to have more in the second half, will be mainly the high-end products such as the EV cars and so on. Even though Kun Dick kindly mentioned that the EV cars in Europe has been doing quite well, but basically if you look at the overall EV business, it's not really growing in this year because we still have to look at the two types of the products that we have. The main reasons for this is that the shortage of the material and the high price of material is still the key factors that have been resulted in the change of the car model. So that's why the cars are actually adjusting themselves. not only for the reason of the material, which we believe is going to be the main reason, but also for the reaction in or the sentiment in the consumer market as well, due to the Brexit and due to the general trade war. So that's the reason why if it's going to be 10% growth in this year, more would come in the second half, and the reason would be because of the general economic of the global is going to get better than what it is now. So what I'm trying to say is that the first half we are suppressed by the general global economic situation that affect the sentiment in the consumer market and also the politics inside the country itself. But those are mostly external factors. But if you look at the operation itself, we have been well prepared for a good growth in not just only this year, but the following 2-3 years. As you have been, if you have been following us for quite some time, you will see that we have a lot of investments in India and also in Thailand for the capacity expansion and for a lot of the new business that we are going to bring in. And so I'll speak in Thai now. เหตุผลที่เราคิดว่าปีนี้น่าจะเป็นปีที่ดีก็เพราะว่าผลกระทบส่วนใหญ่มันมาจากผลกระทบภายนอกซึ่งก็คือมาจากเรื่องของเศรษฐกิจโลกอันเช่นเรื่องของ Brexit หรือ Trade War และแม้แต่เรื่องของการเมืองในประเทศไทยเนื่องจากการที่เราเพิ่งมีเลือกตั้งไปเพราะฉะนั้นถ้าปัจจัยภายนอกเหล่านี้นะคะมีการปรับตัวไปในทางที่ดีขึ้นซึ่งจะมีผลต่อความเชื่อมั่นของนักลงทุนและความเชื่อมั่นของผู้บริโภคในตลาดของผู้บริโภคก็จะทำให้สินค้าของบริษัทขายดีมากขึ้นในครึ่งปีหลังเมื่อเปรียบเทียบกับครึ่งปีแรกก็น่าจะเป็นประมาณ 45% 55% ในกรณีแบบนั้นเราอาจจะโตได้ถึง 10% ของยอดขายเป็น US ดอลลาร์ในปีนี้แต่ว่าหากว่าปัจจัยภายนอกเหล่านั้นมันยังไม่สามารถที่จะแก้ไขตัวเองได้มันก็จะทำให้การเจริญเติบโตของเราในปีนี้จะอยู่ที่ประมาณ 5% และทั้งหมดนี้ไม่ใช่เพราะว่าตัวเราเนื่องจากตัวเรามีการปรับปรุงมีการสร้างขยายตัวกำลังการผลิตและหลายๆอย่างอยู่แล้วเพราะฉะนั้นตอนนี้สิ่งที่เราต้องการก็คือให้ปัจจัยภายนอกเนี่ยค่อนข้างจะคงที่นิดหนึ่งแล้วเราก็จะสามารถเดินต่อไปได้นะคะ Just to answer the questions from the internet, I believe that this question is for Kun Dick to answer, please. And I will read out the question. The question is, will you delist Delta from the Thai stocks market?
Regarding about this question, delist Delta from the Thai stock market or not? Well, according to the past experience, we working with Delta Taiwan, they strongly insist to keep Delta Thailand as existing situation. That's meaning no change. But after a certain period, up to now, if there will be change, I don't know. I think they will keep, but I don't know. So maybe these questions, if you join our EGM in June, right? Yeah. In June, then you can answer this question. I think the directors will be reply this question correctly.
As the management already answered the question both here now and also at the time of the AGM that happens on the 2nd of April, it seems that the intention of Delta Taiwan on the listing of Delta Thailand and the direction of Delta Thailand business operation depends very much on the performance of the management on how they are going to execute the plan that they already agree upon for the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. So if everything is going according to plan, I think that the intention is to keep Delta Thailand as it is, as mentioned by Kun Dik. And as it is also including the listing of this company on the Stock Exchange of Thailand, because the value of the listing is part of the price that Delta Taiwan has paid at the time of the tender offer. So that is one of the reasons why we believe in such the way. And just to translate into Thai นะคะคงจะอันนี้เป็นการตอบคำถามข้อ2และข้อ3ที่เข้ามาด้วยพร้อมๆกันข้อ2บอกว่าจะมีการปลดคนงานไหมแล้วข้อ3ถามว่าทิศทางของ Delta ไทยจะไปทางไหนนะคะก็ตอบพร้อมกันตะกี้นี้ว่าเราคิดว่าตอนนี้อย่างที่เมื่อกี้ได้เรียนให้ทราบว่าเรามีการขยายกิจการค่อนข้างมากในแง่ของตัวกำลังการผลิตแล้วก็ด้วยเหตุนี้การที่จะปลดคนงานมันคงเป็นไปไม่ได้เพราะว่าวัตถุประสงค์หนึ่งของการที่ Delta ไต้หวันมา take over Delta Thailand ก็เพื่อที่จะให้มีการทำธุรกิจผ่าน Delta Thailand มากขึ้นอันเนื่องมาจากปัญหาของ Trade War ที่ Delta ไต้หวันประสบอยู่เพราะฉะนั้นทิศทางของบริษัท Delta Thailand ตอนนี้มันจะแบ่งออกเป็น2ส่วนอย่างที่เคยได้เล่าให้ฟังมาก่อนหน้านี้แล้ว The first part of the Delta Thailand business plan is the same thing that we have been talking in the past. That is, the key driver will be the ODM part, but it's going to be very much on the EV cars, and also data center will be quite stable, and then we will go into industrial automation, industrial solution, medical, and so on, including the alternative energies. Those are the products that Delta Thailand original business plan has been talked about for the past 2-3 years already, and that is still intact. But there are going to be an add-on business plan that comes from the tender offer, and that is to do the more of the business for the regional business to accommodate the group. So for this reason, that's why there would be no chance that we will actually let go of the operator, but it's going to be not increasing the operator in proportion to the increase of the sales, because we will use more of the smart manufacturing, and also depending on the products that we are going to produce. I believe that the questions that come here is regarding to the Thai factories, but actually we are increasing the Thai factory cannot be much because of the limitation of the labor supply, but we are actually expanding much in the Myanmar and also in India, and also hopefully in Slovakia in terms of the production value, so that the growth of the company according to the business plan will not depend or will not be the bottleneck or which could come from the supply of labor in Thailand only. And the product of Delta Thailand is still going to be the same thing that we have just mentioned to you, which is going to answer the question number 4, which asks about the new products of Delta Thailand, which I already mentioned that is going to be EV cars related, and also other stuff that we have mentioned. Any other questions? Please feel free to raise your hands. ค่ะ
Well, I think last time we already mentioned. I tell you the existing situation. We have a total about 1,500 people in there, including the manufacturing side of people. And even now, we have 200 engineering developing all the product, whatever the products is going to use in Indian market, or we're going to use it in the Thailand market or global market, all right? So we try to set up a very strong engineering team, including for the Indian market. You know, this is talking about 1.3 billion people, and come to the 2050 will be 1.6 billion people. It should be the number one population, the highest populations in the world. So they're going to a lot of opportunity there. So we also talking about hardware investment. We are building a bungalow R&D and sales office in there. Total around 60,000 square meters, a green building located in the electric city. Very close to electricity, so which is a very good locations, and just next to the BRT station. So in the future will be very convenient for the people come to work. And then we building and we build another factories, something around 7 kilometers away from the lab, the office area. At this moment, we build a 58-acre land, so separate into two phase. Phase one is domestic for Thailand, for Indian domestic market. Another one is phase two for overseas use the factory. So all around the factory, at this moment, it's about 600,000. I'm sorry, 100,000 square meter manufacturing space. Okay, so this is talking about the business opportunity. I'm sorry, Indian investment. What kind of product is it, or services? Well, for Indian market, infrastructure. Majority is infrastructure. Whatever, you're talking about telecom. You're talking about an EV car. You're talking about an EV scooter. I'm sorry, this is the first item I talk in all the medias. EV scooters. We're talking about data center. We're talking about high-speed train. We're talking about a rail. We're talking about the MRT. We're talking about a smart city. And even coming soon, a kind of marine related, education related. So that was all included in the Indian market. This is talking about the Indian market. But overseas market, it's majority concerned on the labor cost, because the labor cost compared with here and India, it's much more different. And we are, as you understand, we're shortage of people over here. So we consider some of the labor content, it's a very high model, and it's not a very high technology products. Then we try to manufacture here there and try to find a more market we can deliver straight away to the customer.
Over the last weekend, Trump tweeted that he will collect more tax on China. How do you see this will impact the industry and Delta?
Very good. This is I forgot to tell you about this in yesterday's news, right? Yesterday morning I wake up 25%, crazy, and then going to have they have a good opportunity, actually a good opportunity for Thailand. But frankly, I think this is a short-term period. Still, same as the first time I say, the tariff is not good for the global economic. It's very bad. Short period, Thailand is game. And we also can find some customer voice to say, if this, I'm going to start to buy something from your factory. But this is all if in the beginning of the year, they if this, if that. But it looked like they will come back more aggressively. So I do believe in short period it's good for us, but in long run, you can never guess what is the tomorrow's Trump. There will be change. And if he want to win the election, probably he will do something more. I don't know, but at least in shorter period, I built my DT3 to have 10,000 square meters. I'm sorry, yeah, 10,000 square meters for the new product. I built my DT7 for 45,000 square meter in Virgo. This is just for ETH. Okay, thank you.
May I ask the question? Most Honorable Management of Delta, Mr. Shen Yen, Say President, all eminent persons on the desk. I appreciate you for your strong points that market cap and stockholders' equity both are elevating during the quarter under review. High appreciation to you. Secondly, OD and current portion of long-term liability is 0. Also high appreciation your best financial management. I also like to appreciate regarding your cash flow, positive operating cash flow. You are a value company, investing cash flow negative, you are a growth company, but you are having negative free cash flow. But looking the opening balance of the cash in hand, this is positive, not negative. So you can put a note that apparently it looks negative, but it is positive. And institutional investors take it as a growth company, not a stagnant company. Both attributes together, you are the bright and brilliant company. I have one question. Can you explain regarding the premium on share capital reduced from 1491 to 487? How comes, or it is a mistake? Premium on share capital as per the Set Smart this morning, 1491 come to 487. I will go further to the last page. I appreciate your margin of safety. Sales growth is higher than the cost of goods sold growth within Thailand. But looking whole entire businesses, you are having 3-4 places of the world, which you explain now. Your cost of goods sold is higher than, growth is higher than revenue growth. Can you manage this more efficiently what you achieve within Thailand? Another question comes to the debt equity ratio. Net interest bearing debt equity ratio will be lower than 0.41. Can you also show additionally? I appreciate your ROE, ROA, both are in double digit. High appreciation to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you have two parts of the questions, and the first part is about the information for compliments, and we thank you for that. Actually, the parts of the compliments already answered the questions that you have regarding the improvements of the financial ratios, because what you see here is just only during the time for the short term, during the investments time. But everything will be improved after the operation has started with the new capacity and with the new premises that Khun Dik kindly mentioned, in not just only in India but also in Thailand for both locations, which is in Valgro and also in Bangpoo itself. When Khun Dik mentioned DET, it's for short, it's Delta Thailand, Electronics Thailand for short. So that's why actually what he mentioned is that we have been increasing the capacity not just only in India but also in Thailand too. But all of this has already been said in the last session of the press release since for the year end. But thank you so much everyone for your questions and your time. I think that that's something that we always have to look back on the free cash flow, situation, or that we will have at the end of the year. That's the first thing that we already mentioned before. We look at the free cash flow from operation, then we look at the cash requirements for all investments that we have to do, and then we look at the business situation of how much we have to spare the cash, and lastly is about the cash on hand policy that we would like to keep at about $600 million. So all of these are the criteria for considering the cash dividend at the end of the year. But this is just the beginning of the year, so all the questions is very difficult to answer. But thank you very much for your questions anyhow.
Appreciation more for your net profit growth. Minus 21.54, you changed to 2.65 positive. So this is a great achievement. Please keep it up, up and up. Thank you. Net profit growth.
Okay. May I have two questions, please? The first one is follow up on what you mentioned that your India expansion is part of it is actually for the, may I call the migration to avoid the trade war. And what if there is no trade war? If what will that be like empty capacity for the India or in that portion? May I have the second question, maybe deep into the operation details? You mentioned about the change in the automotive model. I'm not sure whether this will bring lower efficiency in short term, that during the transition period, whether the machines will be the same or you have to set up a new production lines for these new products. And I'm extending into the 5G as well, which I believe you have current telecom products and you will have 5G products. Is that going to be in the same production line and transition, or you have you need a new production line for that? Thank you.
First questions. All the investment, if this not going to happen, what will be? Frankly, I built all the factory according to the plan. Luckily, we can see this is because of the Trump. So speed it up for push up the facts to become mature earlier. Actually, our plan is probably another quarter or something will be happen, but right now, it's gonna to happen very soon. But regarding about the DT7, we plan 45 square meter. And this is purely for our EV products expansion. So this is nothing to do with the Trump, nothing to do with the tariff, okay? So even we think this is a DT7, a 45 square meter is not enough for C in the 5 years later. I will headache again. But it's good headache. So we already see a lot of opportunity from there. But we have to working more hard to make sure that DT7 is not enough. For C right now, 3 years later or 4 years later, they will be full. After 2 years, we're going to plan because one factory is going to build for 1 year. Faster, the short, very short lead time is 1 year, probably 1.5 years, depends on timing. If I starting the construction in November, so the dry season can be better. But if I starting now, I will be in trouble because the rainy season, okay? So normally we make a decision in the rainy season and then start construction in November or December timeframe. So this is nothing if. This is a nothing if. The only thing is maybe we have to speed up. So all the facility we build is according to the plan. We spend every penny right on the, how do you say, on the tip of the knife. And then we're talking about automation. Are you talking about if we design that, the automation cannot using for the other products? DSM, we say Delta Smart Manufacturing. We design a solution from 0 to 100. But from 0 to 100, you have to using maybe 10 different machines. Right now, we maybe design number 2 machine, number 4 machine, number 5 machine, but this is a common machine. It's not going to phase out in the future for all my products. Most likely, for all my products are for high quantity use. The second one is definitely going to link with my software, my production, internet, everything, according to you, maybe 5G or everything. Internet, I can operate in the factory. We're not influenced by the other, how do you say, the impact, okay? So all the software, all the machinery, linkage, MES, that got to be all linked all together for our internal use. So security also consider a kind of a very critical. Otherwise, anybody, hackers could be jump in to destroy my systems. Then I will be in trouble. So I don't know. I answer your question already.
Let me help. Let me help. Okay. To his questions, he's asking about the risk of having the capacity and then nothing to produce because of several reasons. Like first is like a trade war, and second is probably because of the change of the model and all those type of things. So what Kun Dik has been mentioned, and may I conclude for him, in our production procedural steps, there can be like common steps and also a unique step, which is only for certain customers and they come to qualify, such as for certain European car makers, but that is not for all. So when Kun Dik mentioned, he mentioned about many products that we don't have to use that kind of unique production steps, because it's some, when we do the assembly, actually, even though our product is specially designed product, but the specialty is in the design. When you look at the production steps, procedural steps itself, actually the common steps is more likely for most of the products already, especially when we do the Delta smart manufacturing, which is going to help us to accelerate the change or the flexibilities of the change, from one model or one product to another. But of course, we cannot change the line that we install mainly for certain customers, because that also the core investment from the customer side as well. So that in answer to your questions, majority of our production capacity is flexible due to the nature of the products itself, which means outside of the cars. And I mean, outside of the car business, you're talking about data center, telecom, automation, industrial automation, industrial solutions, and all those, medical, and all those. But there are some certain parts, which is certain productions, which is for the car itself, that as you have been to our factory, you see that some of the lines, there are certain parts of the line that you cannot change because it's a core investment, and the spec is really mainly for that car makers. So the new expansion is really complementing mostly the common structure of the business, which or the product which we have at the moment, and also what we are going to have in the future. But what is for the concern regarding the EV cars, that is not going to have much of the impact from the EV that we are mentioning right now, because EV car itself, they have their own story of the development. At the moment, the industry is not yet matured, so there are going to be a lot of changes in the future, disregarding of the trade war or anything. But of course, as I mentioned, that it's about the timeline that basically make it sluggish or make it accelerate in terms of the development of those platform for the industry. That's all it takes. So when we talk about all this capacity expansion, the only key factors that we are all concerned right now is that we are not concerned about the Trump Eve. We are not concerned about that, because as the industrialists, we already have our own plan of the business expansion. As what Kun Dik has mentioned, the Eve always come to interfere with the timeline and not really with the business plan itself. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Basically, the distribution requirements for the SET has already been met by the regulations. But in order to be in the set index 50 or set index 100 or MSCI Thailand index, definitely the liquidity is one of the factors that they concern or consider. So we are actually, we as the management of Delta Thailand, together with the management of Delta Taiwan, is looking into this matter, and hopefully you will hear some news according to this matter, according to the decisions that we are doing on a very careful steps by steps kind of thing in the near future. ค่ะ
May I ask, as you mentioned about the overall slowdown of the EV car demand in Europe and the overall industry, so what your outlook for this situation, and especially looking on the Europe EV car?
As we mentioned before, and Kundik may have something to add on to it, it's just only the timing, but it's the most difficult thing to gauge, because the timing depends on the sentiment of the market itself, and also depends on the technology that they are going to use, as well as the design that they are going to do. Because as we all know, the EV cars business is still very young. So no one knows the exact timeline, because you have to see the timeline from the car makers, the timeline from the software maker, and also the timeline of the demand in the market, which also means the infrastructure like the charging station, like the energy which the government has to prepare for the IoT markets that is going to come, not only for the cars but for the smart home, smart city, and everything. So boil down, there are lots of infrastructure that we have to do, not just only about the products. So the timeline is the most difficult and most difficult things to gauge, and very difficult to answer to your questions right now, but I hope you understand. Thank you. Kundik, do you have anything to add on to that?
Just give you a background information, some figures. In 2017, EV cars, 1.2 million cars globally, 50% in China, rest of the 50% in USA and Europe, majority. The rest of the country, very little. Last year, 2 million EV cars, 60% in China because of government subsidies. So in China, it's very, rest of the 800 still. But it's going to change a little bit. 50% in Europe, and rest of the actually it's almost same. USA and Europe is almost same. Japan also some percentage. So foresee this number grows rapidly from 1.2 to 2, and from the market analysis magazine, everything, you can see the requirements up to 2025 will be something around the 15% or 25% in the 2030. So about all the cars, compared with all the cars. So 100 million cars, 30% is 30 million EV cars. So you can guess what's the quantity compared with today.
Excellent. I would like to have one question regarding your expansion in Slovakia or Czechoslovakia, India, and Myanmar. India is having the emphasis of skilled labor more. I would like to know which country is giving you more incentive, promotion incentive like BOI compared to BOI, which country is more attractive in incentives other than skilled labor?
Basically, the BOI is something which is very nice to have. It's like, the icing on the cake. But when we are going to come up with any capacity expansion, basically, first of all, we have to look at the logistics and also the labor supply and also the R&D, because we are doing the products which requires the design. And even though the products that we are going to do in India is mainly for the regional business, which is in this case the infrastructure for the IoT itself, but yet in the IoT itself you have the hardware and also you have the solutions, which is the software. So that's why those are the types of things which is part of the major criteria. Unfortunately, in India itself, as you may know, Your Excellency, because you may come from, it's your country, it is quite difficult to have the benefits, which is going to, as compared to other countries like Thailand, because Thailand, all the benefits come from just one office, which is the Board of Investments office. But in India, you have to pass through several authorities and offices, so therefore it's more complicated, which is almost the same as for Slovakia or elsewhere. So that's why for us what we try to do is not just only to get the promotion for the production, but also we have to look at the tax planning in general as well. And thank you so much for your questions on this. If we have no further questions from the floor, I just would like to thank the management of Delta Thailand and also the analysts together with our investors who have been very kind to come today. We understand that there are lots of things going on in the news this morning, so your invaluable time to spend with us today is highly appreciated. So thank you so much, Ka, and goodbye for today.